When EIC Kevin Duke sent out an email asking the MO staff for a list of good bikes that had been long neglected by both its manufacturer and us, one bike immediately came to mind, the Suzuki Bandit 1250's ABS mildly updated after a couple years' absence. The 2016 Bandit 1250's ABS receives a new half fairing plus some internal engine tweaks. While changes to a fun all-around motorcycle warrants a road test, the Bandit is also the bike on which I gave my oldest daughter her first motorcycle ride way back in 2011. So, the big Bandito will always hold a special place in my heart, and I had waited far too long to throw a leg over one. The beating heart of the Bandit is a collection of old-school technology that has been repeatedly polished to its current state of understressed brilliance. This year the engine receives a new chrome nitride coating on the piston's upper compression and oil control rings. Applied using a physical vapor deposition (PVD) vacuum chamber system, the coating has a harder surface for reduced friction and tighter cylinder sealing, which should result in higher performance. Suzuki's SCEM, Suzuki Composite Electrochemical Material, which is composed of nickel phosphorus silicon carbide plating, makes for tighter piston/cylinder tolerances, less mechanical loss, and more power to the rear wheel. Displacing 1,255 cubic centimeters with a bore and stroke of 79.0 mm x 64.0 mm, the engine is tuned for smooth, linear power and maximum torque delivered early in the RPM range. The 36 mm throttle body's outfitted with Suzuki dual throttle valve, SDTV, EFI deliver handle fuel metering duties. The Bandit's cooling system utilizes a GSX-R 750 derived oil cooler to assist the oil in its secondary duty of cooling engine internals. For the most part, the engine delivers the smooth power throughout the RPM range for which it was designed. Off the line, the engine launches with an easy-to-modulate clutch and minimal revs. With ample torque created around 2,500 RPM, the power delivery has a low-down grunt that big-bore V-twin owners can appreciate. That power continues building linearly until around 9,000 RPM when the party ends. If the Bandit hadn't been delivering roughly the same mid-90s peak horsepower for years, the revelation of less than 100 HP output would be scandalous. Instead, it's old news. Having all that displacement produce only double-digit horsepower output seems pretty odd on paper. However, you won't miss it out on the road unless you're expecting an open-class sport bike's top-end rush. Recalibrate your sensors for streetable power delivery that will work in almost any riding situation, and Suzuki's choice makes tons of sense. Ergonomically, the Bandit hits the nail on the head. If we had to quibble, we'd ask for a tad less reach to the grips. Riding the Bandit highlights how much Suzuki got right with its engine. Any twist of the throttle above 3,500 RPM is greeted with instantaneous response. Despite the Bandit's heft and 567 pounds weight, isn't light blue light-inducing shenanigans are possible with very little effort. Suzuki's tall gearing choices leave the tachometer loafing around 4,100 RPM at 80 miles per hour. On the interstate, this is ideal. In more twisty environments, fifth is a more reasonable gear. Suzuki likely made its gearing choice based on a desire to deliver sport touring traveling distance. With our average fuel mileage of 36.8 mpg, the Bandit has a calculated range of 184 miles. The new half fairing wraps around the radiator for a nice look while simultaneously directing most turbulence away from the rider. However, no motorcycle is perfect, and the Bandit does have a couple of notable engine idiosyncrasies. First, it has trouble maintaining neutral throttle. Moving the grip the slightest bit results in the bike abruptly shifting from acceleration to deceleration. In fast corners, a higher gear selection reduces the effect. However, in first and second gear corners, the issue varies from a minor distraction to annoying. Try to maintain a constant speed, and you'll be greeted with abrupt shifts from on to off throttle and back again. The good news is that the transmission has relatively little driveline lash and does not exacerbate the problem. The Bandit's accommodations highlight what makes standards so popular. The riding position is upright with a comfortable bend in the elbows as you reach for the tubular handlebar. The bar allows the rider good leverage on the grips and even makes some tweaking of the arm position possible by rotating the bar in the clamps. The rider's feet rest directly below in a perfect position for unweighting your butt to absorb bumps with your legs, though riders with long legs may find the pegs just a tad high. The 32.5-in seat offers just the right amount of firmness and enough room to move around on long rides. Shorter riders will appreciate that the seat height can be lowered to 31.7 inches.